In life, in life, too many of us, too many of us have gone through life and accepted what life has given us. We have been months, weeks, days, years attempting to just handle the cards that we were dealt, attempting to just get by. And we oftentimes wonder, when is it going to be my turn? I can look around and I can see people around me being blessed. I can look around and see people around me gaining. I can look around and see people around me enlarge their territory. And the question comes, when is it my turn? Why is it that it's me that continues to be held back? Why is it me that's always held down? Why is it me that's always denied? Why is it always my breakthrough? Lexi, what's happening? That seems to be delayed. I'm so excited about this series, and this is not just something that came out of my head. This is a culmination of the last 3 to 4 years of like my life, where I kind of just let things happen. I kind of just allowed life to do what it was going to do, and I responded accordingly. But this series right here is going to encourage you. It's going to inspire you to get your hit back. Put in the chat right now, it's time to fight back. Put in the chat right now, it's time to fight back. And I need you to join me on this journey that it's time to get your hit back. It is no coincidence that you are here. It is no coincidence that life has been lifing to you. Heartbreak has been happening to you. Disappointment and frustration have been happening to not just you, but to us. And today, in a declarative statement, I need you to put in the chat, believe it. It is time to fight back. I am going to fight back. And the reason that it's necessary is that when you're in a fight for your mental health, when you're in a fight for your sanity, when you're in a fight for your relationship, when you're in a fight for your finances, when you're in a fight for the sake of your children, when you're in a fight for the sake of your career and guidance and purpose, we have to learn how to swing back. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk. We're going to walk. Thank you for the rose. We're going to walk slowly. We're going to walk slowly through this, and we're going to give you the science behind fighting back. If I were to jump in a ring with Floyd Mayweather, right, he'd make me look like a fool. If I were to jump in a ring with Mike Tyson, I'd probably get knocked out because they understand the science behind the fight. And I just know how to swing my fist. And it's one thing to believe. It's one thing to have a puncher's chance. It's one thing to have some dumb luck, this being my first fight. But it's something completely different when I understand the science behind the fight. It is time for you to fight back. And in this series, we're going to walk all the way from what it takes to get a license to fight, to training and conditioning to fight, to understand which body parts do what in a fight. And this way, we're more situationally selective. We're more aware of what our strengths are. We're more aware of the benefits that we have. We're more aware of what we are bringing with us to the ring. And this is also going to teach us how to counteract or counterpunch, or to not get caught or beat into submission by the problems that we're facing. This is how to not submit to a broken heart, because relationship after relationship has failed. This is how to not submit to being passed over for promotions. This is how not to submit to the anger problem or the depression or the anxiety that I have been dealing with. And in order to get us through this, today I'd like to introduce you to a man named Benny Paz. Benny Paz was a boxer that was a world champion back in the 90s. And I know that I'm dating myself. I realize it. I get it. But some of us were around that time frame. And Benny Paz. He trained and he boxed in the same era as Hector Camacho. He boxed in the same era as Sugar Ray Leonard. He boxed in the same era as Hector Camacho. He boxed in the same era as Roberto Duran. Right? All of these legends. April, what's happening? Happy Saturday. And he boxed in the same era. So it was boxing's golden age at the time. Okay, what's happening? He boxed at the same time as all of these legends. And in 1991, Vinny Paz's career was derailed because he had a car accident and he was a passenger in a car. The car crashed and he had to be cut out of the vehicle with the jaws of life. While this accident happened, he damaged his vertebrae. He broke several vertebrae and he had to be fitted with a halo. And for those of y'all who don't know what a halo is a shoulder apparatus in which they screw things into your skull in order to keep your neck and spine straight while it heals. The doctors looked at him and said, your boxing career is over. You can find something else to do. Go to school. Your dreams and aspirations are done. Find something else to do. You will probably never walk again. This was the prognosis given to Vinny Paz. But Vinny Paz knew different. He was a fighter. He had fight in his DNA. All he had done in his life was overcome things, overcome obstacles, overcome feeling insignificant, overcome the pain that comes along with training. He had went through the rigors of training, so he knew better. He knew his body better. So he's sitting here. In a year after he went through the physical therapy, he went and he had this halo on. He was made a mockery of. He was talked about in the public, and the commentators and the article writers began to look at him as an example of a tragedy or of a career that was cut too short. But Vinny made up in his mind that he was being a fighter, so he had a fighter's DNA. He knew that what was written about him wasn't the final thing. He knew that doctors didn't have the final word. He knew that commentators and analysts and the bloggers didn't have the final word. He knew that his family who didn't believe in his dream didn't have the final word. He knew that the friends who don't believe in your purpose didn't have the final word. So he began to go through the physical therapy. And a year later, 1992, not only was Vinny moving, not only was Vinny walking, but in 1992, Vinny Paz made a return to the ring. And in 1993, Vinny Paz became a world champion, a world boxing champion. And in this series, this is what we're going to do. We're going to walk and give you the belief necessary, the faith necessary to believe in yourself enough to fight back. Your every fight in which you participate in which you don't swing back, you are going to lose. So I need somebody today to believe in themselves. I need somebody today to decide that they're going to fight back. I'm going to mentally and emotionally resolve myself to fighting back. There are a few things that I'd like to take from Vinny's story. Point number one, he fought in the same era as boxing giants, Sugar Ray Leonard, Hector Camacho, Roberto Duran, right? Put this in a point. My legacy will not look like anyone else's. A lot of times in life, we look around at the people and the things and the situations around us, and we begin to compare. We begin to compare our legacy. Put that in a point. My legacy will not look like anyone else's. Every kiss begins with K. Welcome in. You were not designed. Tara, what's happening? Welcome in. You were not designed to walk the walk of anybody else. You are not designed to emulate the steps of anyone else. Let's go with the heartbeats. Your legacy and the impact that you leave on this planet, on your family, in your community, is not designed to look like anyone else's. You are 1 out of 9 billion. So I need you to understand that your legacy is not going to look like anyone else's. Why? When the doctor said, we've seen this injury before and the people didn't walk. We've seen this injury before and the people weren't as active as they used to be. We've seen this injury before and typically this is what happens. And I need you today to inspire yourself, to look yourself in the eyes. Go in the mirror, look yourself in the ocular stems and tell yourself, I am not anybody else's. What is the status quo does not apply to me. My legacy is not going to look like anybody else's. Now, we see the story and we know these names. We know the Camachos. We know the Durans. We know the Sugar Rays. We know the people that were in this era, but Vinnie Paz had just a little bit more to overcome. And if I could submit to you today, Sky, what's happening? If I could submit to you today that the weight on your shoulders and the responsibility that you carry throughout life, it might look different. It might feel just a little bit heavier. It might feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders and you're not sure how much longer you can keep this up. But you're not built like anybody else. You are to walk a different walk than anybody else. And anytime that you are given great responsibility, anytime that you are given great burden, anytime that you are given great stress, the weight, let's go with the boxing gloves contributing to the live goal. Thank you. The weight that you carry is to project you into your future, into your destiny, into your purpose, into your happiness, into your peace. And I'm not sure what it is that you're fighting with today. I'm not sure what it is that you're struggling with today. I'm not sure what's been on your mind your entire life. I'm not sure where it is that you have envisioned yourself. And the truth of the matter is, it does not matter. If you make a decision to fight back, you become the type of person who makes things happen and not the type of person that things happen to. We have 100% control. And I hear you. I hear it. I felt it. Somebody was like, what about opportunities? What about materials? What about resources? And I ask you back, what do you have today that you can use to your benefit? We're talking about license to fight. The second point that I want to take from Vinnie Paz's story is when the doctors gave the prognosis, hey, you're not going to walk again. You can forget about boxing. The point, a crash, put this in a point, a crash does not mean condemnation. A crash does not mean condemnation. What am I saying? I'm saying that just because something happened to you, just because you ran up against a little adversity, just because a situation has had you feeling less than for so long, it does not mean that the fight is over. It does not mean that the purpose is not supposed to come to pass. It doesn't mean that the peace is not going to happen. It does not mean that the destination has been deferred or deterred. What I need you to understand is that sometimes crashes happen so that your legend can be brought to fruition, so that your legacy secures itself, so that you can appreciate what it looks like to win when winning happens to you. The people are going to talk. You're going to be backstabbed. You're going to be talked about. You're going to be accused of acting funny. But the truth of the matter is that anybody that's not on board with your vision, anybody that's not on board with your purpose, anybody that's not familiar with you, have no consideration for your mental or emotional intelligence or health, which means that they don't know you. They don't know the type of fight that's been brewing on the inside of you. They don't know how long. They don't know how long you've been just holding on. They don't know how long you've barely been attempting to make ends meet. They don't understand that as you've been going through these problems, you get a little more resilient. As you deal with situation after situation, you get a little more resilient. As you begin to conquer and overcome things, you become a little more mentally tough. As you deal with and conquer adversity, you're developing coping skills and you're developing creative solutions in the back of your mind. You misunderstand me because you don't truly know me. We have to be careful. We have to be extremely careful with the words of people that we believe. When the doubters come around, you can't do that. You're only this. You can't achieve that. You're only this. You'll never have a Fortune 500 company business because you're this. You can't rise to this level because you used to do this, and this. But when you're fighting back, when you're gearing up to fight back, it's you that has to know you. And you're the only person. And the people that you put around you, hey, I just need a trainer. I need a cut man. That's it. In other words, I have to put people around me that may not necessarily know me. I have to get unfamiliar with environments that are not conducive to my growth. When I'm walking to the ring, my entourage, everybody wants to be around you when you win the fight. You ever watch a boxing match and the people walking to the ring with the boxer, it's few, it's like 4 or 5. But the people in the ring after the fight ends, the people that want to talk to the boxer after the fight is over, the people that want an interview, the people that want a photo, the people want to say, I was there. These people weren't there in the very beginning. They weren't there when the struggle first started. And that's why the doctor can look at Vinny Pass and say, you'll never walk again. That's why the doctor could look at Vinny Pass and say, you'll never fight again. That's why the doctor can look at him and pronounce his dream dead. But Vinny said, I just need somebody to believe. I just need people who understand the fight within me. I just need people who understand my heart. I just need people to understand what it is that I'm going through and walk with me. Don't meet me at the end. I need people. I need people that's going to see me with and through. In other words, if you weren't there in the beginning, we can be cool, but I need to give you an understanding of who I am. I am a fighter. I need you to understand who I am. I am a dreamer. I need you to understand who I am. I have imagination. I need you to understand who I am, that I'm not the typical person that you have dealt with. So don't put your projections on me. Don't limit my beliefs. Watch your mouth when you talk to me, because I am bigger than my current situation. And today, we're going to learn how to fight back. The next point that I want to take from Vinny's story is that in the process, when he had to wear this halo, he had to submit himself to treatment. He had to begin to walk around, and it was uncomfortable, and he had to turn with his entire shoulders. He wasn't as limber as he used to be. In other words, he had to have some form of discipline. And it's here that I have to pause and remind you that anytime we're attempting to heal from a situation, anytime we're attempting to go to the next level, we have to have some level of discipline. And sometimes discipline looks like we're actually losing, but it's refining. It's healing what was once injured. It's healing trauma. It's healing pain. Discipline heals. So his movement was restricted. They screwed it into his head. And the second point that I need you to take from Vinny's halo is that, and put this in a point, discomfort is designed to test determination. Discomfort is designed to test determination. And I need you to ask yourself today, how determined are you to fight back? How determined are you to reach what it is that you're trying to reach? How determined are you to have peace in your household? How determined are you to have a successful business? How determined are you to be fulfilled in your heart and in your mind? How determined are you to do the things that you were designed to do? Because Vinny had screws in his skull. He had the wire around him. His shoulders and his mobility was limited. And this went against everything that he had done up until this point. Oh my God. As a boxer, you're taught to have some fluidity and some thank you for the follow, to have some discipline and to have some fluidity and to be able to see things coming. And this halo went against everything that he had been taught in his natural life. Everything that he thought he knew about boxing, he had to learn how to redo. Everything that he thought that he knew about the science of fighting, he had to redo. In your culture today, in your life today, in your situations today, how disciplined are you? Are you willing to go against everything that you have ever learned in order to get somewhere that you've never been? Oh, this is good. The other thing about this halo, excuse me, the other thing about this halo is that it denied him peripheral vision. It denied him peripheral vision. Anybody who's ever seen one of these contraptions or seen one of these apparatuses know that anytime that you have this halo on, you don't have the peripheral vision that you once had. I need somebody to get focused. I need somebody to be focused on healing. I need somebody to be focused on loving themselves. I need somebody focused on filling the holes within them with purpose and not another boyfriend. I need somebody in them to be focused on filling the hole in their heart and not with another girlfriend. I need somebody that's determined so they have their eyes fixed solely on the destination and not get distracted by a good smelling perfume or the gray sweatpants. I need somebody to not get distracted by the allure of money or the appearance of status or the appearance of clout. I need you to not get distracted by the need for validation and acceptance. I need you to not get distracted by disbelief. I need you to not get distracted by depression, by anxiety. I need you to not get distracted. I need you looking straight ahead. But then the halo, thank you for the follow. The halo around his head ensured. But what it did was it was against everything. And sometimes in order to heal, we have to go against everything that we've ever been taught. From children, we were taught, look both ways before crossing the street. Safety lesson. From boxing and training, they're telling you, hey, not only do I have to have good peripheral vision, but I have to be able to make the adjustment, right? Because my right hand is actually my opponent's left hand. In other words, I need to be so focused that I need to unlearn everything that I have ever learned because the things that I have learned have put me in a bad situation. Everything that I've known up until this point has led me to here where I don't have access to everything that I think is valuable. I'm scrolling on social media and then I see a fitness influencer, hashtag body goals. No, I'm scrolling on social media and I'm seeing like the thirst traps being laid. I'm scrolling on social media and I'm seeing the big house and I'm seeing the cars and I'm seeing what appears to be happy couples and hashtag relationship goals. Hashtag, no, hashtag discipline. Hashtag focus. Hashtag I need to be able to put this work and make my current situation work for me right here, right now. Just because something was taken, and I'm using air quotes, just because the situation got a little bit uncomfortable, just because I don't have what I believe is at my disposal, it doesn't mean that my destination or my dream is dead. It just means that I have to focus in. I have to take an inventory of what is actually working for me now. I have to take an inventory of what I have the ability to use and make that available for me to use. Discomfort does not disqualify my dream. Instead, it is designed to test determination. Vinny started walking, right? And it took him a year to perfect his walk. And then it took him a year to get back in the ring. And then a year after that, he was the champion. Put this in a point. Delayed does not mean denied. Delayed does not mean denied. In other words, just because the dream is not happening on my timeline doesn't mean that it's not coming. Just because I'm impatient and I want to run doesn't mean that this is not my season to walk. Just because I am impatient and I want to try and rush things, you know what happens when you're in a rush? We don't give 100% effort because we are in a panic. We rush and we pursue out of a place of brokenness and emptiness. And as a result of that, I begin to make mistakes. So sometimes I have to walk. Sometimes I have to wait. Sometimes I have to sit still because we feel like, or we confuse sitting still with doing nothing. And when we do nothing, then that's procrastination. When we do nothing, that's laziness. When we do nothing, that's trying to figure things out. Doing nothing comes from a place of brokenness and confusion, but sitting still comes from a place of intentionality. Sitting still comes from a place of focus. Sitting still comes from a place of rest. Sitting still comes from a place of perspective. Doing nothing is toxic, but sitting still comes from strategy. It's amazing how when things don't work out on our timeline, we start to feel like it's not working. We start to question our judgment. We start to question our intuition. We start to question whether or not this is the thing that we're supposed to be doing. But when we look at our past and what led us up to this point, we let the past put a stranglehold on us. We say, hey, and you start to disqualify yourself. People start to disqualify themselves because they feel like they're not worthy or worth it. They feel like because I used to be a 304, then I don't have a higher purpose than this. They feel like just because I stood on the corner and provided pharmaceuticals, that I'm not worthy to be a Fortune 500 CEO. They feel like because I've been taught and conditioned and groomed to think that I was less than qualified, less than smart, less than beautiful, less than intelligent, that this is the truth. But it's time to let go of the past. It's time to let go of the past. Canada's greatest exporters enter the chat. It's time to let go of the past. Right? When this happened, right? A couple days ago, I had my morning conversation. I had my usual morning conversation, and the conversation got kind of heated because, thank you for the follow, because someone came in and this person was still dealing with pain from generations ago. This person was still dealing with pain from, civil rights and slavery and talking about the trauma. And while these things are all valid, we have to begin to become solution oriented. One of the things that turns me, that it scuffs my Timbs, right? As a life coach, it scuffs my sneakers, right? As a coach, when I hear people talk about things that they lost during the pandemic, when they talk about relationships that could have been, when they start talking about former flames from like high school and college that they haven't talked to these people in like 5 years, but they won't delete the number. When they start to talk about people who broken their hearts, but they still give them access to. When they start to know that relationships are toxic and they still go to Netflix and chill. You answer every "what are you doing" text. This just got personal for somebody, and I get it, but we're here, right? This comes from not addressing a negligent parent. This comes from not addressing being unqualified. This comes from not addressing not being instructed to live. This comes from not addressing our voice being canceled from the time that we were children. This comes from not addressing that marriage that we were in which we allowed the significant other to control our every movement. This comes from not addressing these things. The pandemic happened, and it happened to all of us. But what are we doing? What lessons have we learned? How have we become more efficient? And instead of allowing a world shutdown, instead of allowing sickness, and instead of allowing loss to strengthen and embolden our confidence, we just sat back and took it. But today I am applying for my license to fight back. Let me move. That became a little personal for somebody. Let's define our terms. Let's define our terms. The definition of fit, according to the Oxford English Dictionary, is a suit of suitable quality, standard, or type to meet a required purpose. Of suitable quality, standard, or type to meet a required purpose. Fight. Fight, a vigorous struggle or campaign for or against something. If we want to put it in a verb, fight, endeavor vigorously to win. Here's going to be the working definitions over the next couple of weeks as we go through this series. Now, there are 9 steps. There are 9 steps in order to get a professional fighting license. There are 9 steps, and we're going to break these down and go through these, and we're going to draw parallels to our everyday life. Okay. The first thing that you need in order to get a license is the application form. Put this in a point. Applying myself, put this in a point. Somebody write this down. Applying myself is when ideas, imagination, and investment marry. Applying myself, in other words, in order to fill out this application, this is when my idea, my imagination, and my investment, my actions marry. This is when something goes from your head to your heart to your hands. Okay. And in order to get this done, filling out the contract is you making a contract with yourself that you're going to be committed. Because usually when you fill out the application, right, there's some financial investment that goes with it, right? There's the application fee, there's the licensing fee, there is the gym membership fee, there's paying your trainers, there's the money to eat, right? Right now I have some skin in the game. Don't miss the bar because I'm talking about money, okay? But when you decide that you're going to fight back, and we're going to apply for the license to fight back, I have to begin to idea. I have to picture or have a vision as to where it is that I want to go. And then I have to imagine myself there. You want to know where your vision boards come into play? You want to know where your prayers and fasting come into play? You want to know where your manifestations and attraction and all of these things come from, right? They come from your imagination because you're not there in that point at that time. So what that means is you have to close your eyes, sit still, kind of just like what we talked about, sit still and imagine yourself there. What type of clothes do you wear? What type of car are you driving? What does your spouse look like? What type of relationship are you in? And we have to move with intentionality when it comes to these things, because if we don't move with any intentionality or before that, we have to see it. Right? I teach on this platform all the time. Hashtag Eli, right? Energy, love, and imagination. Anything that you want to bring success to, anything that you want to bring to fruition inside of your life, it requires your energy, it requires your love, and it requires your imagination. So now that I have decided that I'm going to fight back because I'm tired of having my emotions punched and stepped on, because I'm tired of living a mediocre existence, because I'm tired of being relegated to the decision making of other people. I am tired of comparing myself to the things that I see on social media. I am tired of being talked about. I am tired of being gossiped about. And it's time for me to no longer be the victim of what is happening to me, but it's time for me to influence. It's time for me to create my own atmosphere. It is time for me to fight back. But the first step is the application process. And now my ideas, my energy, and my investment all have to marry. Put this in a point. There is no commitment to concepts. There is no commitment to concepts. In other words, if I have an idea and I don't write it down, right? Here's what that application does. That application is you taking the idea out of your head and putting it on paper. It's taking it out of your head and putting it on paper. Now, because if it's in my head, right, without writing it down, it's just a wish. It's just a wish. And some of us, I wish that I was better. I wish that I had a bigger house. I wish that my car was better. I wish my children will behave. I wish that there was somebody else to share my bed with. I wish that I could have a loving relationship. I wish that my family supported my dream. We have to write it down. We have to write it down to turn it from a wish into a vision. And if it's not out of your head, then it never gets into the universe. And it does not matter what your belief system is. It does not matter what it is. It doesn't matter if you're somebody who's trying to attract. It doesn't matter if you're putting out good karma. It does not matter if you are a monotheistic religion. We have to do the same thing. It's biblical. It says in the Bible, write the vision, make it plain so that those running by might be able to see it. Here's what that application is. I'm applying for my license to fight back. I challenge you. Write down where you see yourself. Write it down, make it plain. So now you have something to hold yourself accountable to. And it's important to go back and revisit, because once you write it down and you write down where that vision is, what happens is now your day-to-day tasking begins to mirror or take steps towards where it is that you see yourself. And here's how you know when you're in proper alignment is when your day-to-day tasking is in line or you're taking steps to where it is that you're going. The second thing inside of the application process, to get a license to fight, when you submit your application, you also have to submit a photo of yourself. You have to submit a photo of yourself. Put this in a point. Looking at today gives me the outlook for tomorrow. Looking at today gives me the outlook for tomorrow. You have to understand that in this application process, when you submit this photo, it's not when you're fresh out of camp. It's not when you're fresh out of the gym and you got a sick pump going on. This is what you look like at the time that you're filling out this application. For a lot of us, we have to take the photo with the black eye. Sometimes we have to take the photo with bags under our eyes from crying ourselves to sleep the night before. For some of us, we have to take it straining or with that angry face because happiness is what we're fighting for. But we have to take it with furrowed eyebrows because somebody better not pop off to me today. I don't even know what the boss is on when I get to work, but he better come to me correct because I'm willing to risk it all. For some of us, it's swallowing a little bit of pain and swallowing a little bit of guilt so I can sit next to that family member that never believed in anything that I had to say. For some of us, it's taking that photo, not liking your spouse because there's been history. For some of us, it's looking down and looking at your child right in the eyes and being like, hey, look, I'm trying. For some of us, it's regret. But we have to take the photo today. We have to take the photo today. And when we submit this application, why? Because I need a look at what you look like today. Because if I don't accept and if I can't see where I am today, then there's no hope for tomorrow. I can't take the proper steps for where I'm going tomorrow. I can't take what's necessary. I can't accept it. So therefore, I'm going to disassociate or live in a state of delusion for tomorrow. And that's going to cause me to be misaligned. So we have to take the photo today to provide the outlook for tomorrow. The third thing is proof of a neurological exam. Proof of a neurological exam. Okay, now this neurological exam is going to determine whether or not your brain, your nerves, and your spine are in proper alignment and working order. Put this down to the point. Alignment always announces assignment. Alignment always announces assignment. What do I mean? I mean that a lot of times people haven't fought back in their lives. because they don't understand what it is they're supposed to fight for. They can't see the championship belt on the other side of this fight. They can't see themselves winning. They've been in a state of depression and a state of confusion and a state of despair and pain for so long that they forgot what winning actually looks like. They have forgotten what it's like to hold your hands up in triumph. They don't believe that winning is any longer a part of the equation. So when I submit my application to fight back, I have to ensure that it's an alignment so that I know exactly what it is that I'm fighting for, so that I know that I'm destined and I'm purposed to do these things. So that way my efforts don't go unnoticed. What does alignment look like? Alignment looks like your gifts and your talents meeting determination. They run on parallels like this. And when that happens, and I begin to align myself, when I begin to let them intersect and then straighten themselves out, now I'm cooking with something. But I have to ensure that my thoughts, oh my God, I have to ensure that my thoughts, I'm talking to myself positively. I'm ensuring that those around me are pouring into me. I'm ensuring that my support system is doing what it's supposed to do. I am not locking myself into an epistemic bubble or an echo chamber. I am not locking myself into a group of toxic people. I am not locking myself or locking in with people that are lazy, people that are not driven, people that would rather talk about and judge and criticize what other people are doing rather than to work on their own stuff. Misery loves company. Toxicity loves company. And if I begin to align myself with people that are built just like this, then I'm going to become just like that. So I have to ensure that my thoughts are purpose-minded and purpose-driven. I have to ensure that my spine is in correct alignment. Why? Because I need to be able to stand up straight, stand confident. I need to ensure that my posture is ready to fight. If you have a bad back or you herniated discs, right? This controls the stances that you take. Oh my God. This determines this determines your ability to withstand. This determines your leg strength. Where are you standing today? Are you standing kind of crunched over because you're not willing to fight? Are you standing with a bad gait? Can you not get out of the way of the punches that life are coming because my back hurts? So now I have to move. I have to move in a certain manner that's going to put me in the way of more punches. My spine needs to stand erect. My spine needs to stand up straight. I need to be able to stand confidently on the decisions that I'm making. I need to be able to stand confidently and look at the vision. I need to be able to stand confidently and see a healthy relationship and stand and see a healthy bank account and see a healthy children and children that were raised well, and to be able to see purpose and destiny. I have to be able to stand confidently. So I have to get this neurological exam to ensure that my brain and my spine are in proper alignment. And that the trauma has not caused me to walk with a limp. The BM is in the building. What's up, bro? The trauma and the pain that I've endured in my life, that they haven't damaged me being able to flush out waste. Uh-oh. Some of us are in a position to not fight back because we've taken one too many kidney shots, and now our body can't properly dispose of waste. In other words, you knew that relationship was bad for you 5 years ago. You knew that friendship was toxic for you three months ago. You knew that you should stop hanging around particular family members decades ago. But because of trauma, now I've created an attachment style that makes me dependent upon this person's validation, dependent upon this other person's opinion. I've developed an attachment style because I've been hit too many times. And because I didn't get the proper neurological exam, I am now ill-equipped to fight back because I am dependent on acceptance and validation. I know that hit a little close to somebody. Let me move. The fifth thing, or the fourth thing, sorry, the fourth thing that you need is an MRI. And this MRI is to ensure that your internal organs are healthy and to check for signs of trauma. What condition is your heart in? If your heart was worn like your face, where people could see, right? Because if you punch me in the eye, you can see I get a black eye. You can punch me in the mouth, you can see the blood there. What does your heart look like? I have to get this MRI because in order for me to fight, I need a properly working heart where things go in and come out. Doesn't that sound a lot like reciprocity? But if I have a hole in my heart, oh my God, I will not be licensed to fight. A physician, God, karma, the universe, a physician can't clear me to fight with a hole in my heart, with heart palpitations, with what do you call it? An enlarged heart. Is it too big? Because if it's too big, it's going to force blood to too many places that don't need it. We have to be able to put our love and our energy and our time into people that appreciate it, people that can deserve it, and people that are not going to take advantage of it by taking too much. Because just as much as not pouring out love, pouring out too much love is just as toxic, because it means that you have crossed the line between compromise and sacrifice. It means that people don't respect your boundaries, right? If my heart is enlarged and it pumps out too much blood and it goes throughout my body after my muscles are filled, after my organs have been filled, if I continue to pump out too much, what happens is that the vehicles and the lanes that the blood travels begin to get enlarged. And now my blood pressure sinks because what was supposed to carry him wasn't keeping it accountable. What do your boundaries look like? So I have to ensure that my heart it doesn't have a hole in it, that is not too bruised, that is not too blocked from high cholesterol. It doesn't have excess around it. And that's a direct result of what I'm taking in. In other words, I have friends that like to spill tea. I have friends that like to gossip. I have friends that are procrastinators. I have friends that like to sit around and complain and judge what other people are doing. I have friends that like to live too far in the past. I have friends that would rather gather together around a bottle. Kimmy, thank you for the heart me's. I have friends that are not beneficial to my purpose and my heart health. I have friends that would rather take me to a buffet and allow me to overconsume than friends that are looking out for my blood pressure. So I have to get this MRI when I submit this application to ensure that a physician, God, karma, the universe, has cleared me to fight. The fifth thing that I have to submit is an EKG. Okay, so the MRI, it examines the condition of your heart. But the EKG determines your heart posture. It determines your heart functionality, right? So now I can look at the outside and see what does this heart look like. Is it the right size? Do I put boundaries in the right place? Am I assertive enough about my purpose? Am I wise enough to have learned the lesson from the third dude in a row that broke my heart? Am I wise enough to have learned a lesson to not give love freely to the fifth woman that's cheated on me in a row? Am I wise enough with my finances to not cap and to not simp and to just throw and attempt to love bomb and hope of reciprocity and not expect reciprocity in return? And is my heart in condition enough to have learned the lessons necessary? Or have I allowed trauma to break it? Have I allowed the things that have happened to me to break it, and now I can't trust anybody? Now I can't get close to anybody because I have a fear of being hurt again. Now I can't form meaningful relationships because I believe that everybody is out to get me. I'm talking to somebody right now. I want to be able to connect. I want to be able to build meaningful friendships. But because the MRI determined that my heart was too damaged, the physician, that's why the physician can't clear me. But now I need to know my heart posture. So the EKG is going to dig further into your heart. The EKG is going to tell me position and condition of my heart. Position and condition. Position. What do I believe? What do I believe? Do I believe that I'm destined to do this? Do I believe that I can achieve happiness? Do I believe that I can get into a healthy relationship? Do I believe that I am worthy of love? Do I believe that I'm worthy of the promotion? Do I believe that I can instill discipline enough in myself to turn things around? Do I believe? What do I believe? And then the condition. How much does it mean to you? How much does it mean to you? Because truth of the matter is that I'd love to tell you that once you decide to fight back, that there's nothing else coming. I'd love that story for you. But the truth of the matter is that once you get your license to fight, there are more fights coming. And the longer that you stay in this thing, the longer that you inspire yourself, the longer that you begin to pour back into yourself, the bigger the fights that have to come. Because there has to be some growth. And once you conquer this level, there has to be some fights that's coming. If I'm going to be a recognized world champion, if I'm going to leave a legacy, if I'm going to live a life that is worth living, bigger fights have to come. So while I'd love to tell you, while I'd love to give you a hug and tell you all of the fighting is done, while I'd love to hold your hand while you're in training camp and say you just have to get through 12 rounds, 5 rounds if it's MMA. While I'd love to be able to tell you that once you decide to fight back, that the struggle ends. The truth of the matter is I need to understand how much this purpose, how much this destiny, how much this thing that I'm striving for means to me. Because when I get punched in the face in the first round, I can't quit then. In the 5th round, when my ribs are potentially broken, I can't quit then. When I'm out of breath and my legs are growing weary because I've worked them for 12, 15 rounds, I can't quit then. If I'm in an MMA fight, I can't stop because the problems and the adversary and the opposition is not going to try and stop trying to make me submit. They're not going to stop trying to make me be knocked out. They're not going to stop attempting to win the fight. So now that I've decided to fight, now that I'm applying for this license to fight, I need to understand not only the position of my heart, but the condition of my heart. Because if we don't build this resilience, if our heart posture isn't correct in position or condition, then we're going to give up. We're going to stop to believe. We're going to stop believing in ourselves. We're going to stop questioning whether or not this is something that we want. We're going to stop fighting for it. We're going to get lazy and we're going to sit on our hands. But now is the time to fight back. Now is the time that we're going to apply for the license to fight back. Now is the time that we are going to not only lean against the ropes or lean against the cage and run from the attack, but we have to go on the offensive. But in order to get this done, I need to know, I have to submit this EKG because I need to know the position of my heart. That hey, what I do believe in myself. I know that I'm a fighter. I know that I'm a conqueror. I know. How do I know this? Because I keep a journal of my accomplishments. I keep a journal of my wins. So even when my intuition fails me, I have something on paper. I have this application on paper saying that I am a fighter. I'm going to celebrate my wins. I'm going to celebrate the small wins. I'm going to celebrate every small day that I wake up and I breathe and I got some stuff accomplished. I have my journal. I have my application right here that says that I am a fighter. So even if I don't feel it in my heart, even if I don't feel it inside of my brain, I have receipts. I have an application of where I fought and won. One of the craziest things about the Rocky movies that I strongly loved, right? At first I didn't like it, right? Because as a kid with an immature understanding, I didn't understand how come Rocky would always get beat up. First 7 rounds. The first 7 rounds, Rocky will be getting drunk. Boom, boom. boom, boom. There was one fight where the people in the corner, the people in his corner was saying, hey, just stay down, Rock. Just stay down. It's over. But Rocky knew, just like Vinny Paz knew, hey, I've been in tough situations before. I've been in uncomfortable situations before. I've been in situations that the outlook looked dim before. I have been in places in which I didn't know how I was going to make it out. But one day I decided to fight, and then all of a sudden it starts. Bum 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 bum. And next thing you know, Rocky is throwing lefts and rights because he learned something. He remembered who he was. He remembered, but this didn't take intelligence. This didn't take opportunity. This took heart. So sometimes all I have to do is believe. Because my head is set on winning this fight. And now, once I start to believe inside of my heart, I can start to hear the Rocky song, bang, bang, bang. And I'm starting to throw these punches back because I remembered that I am a fighter and I have the heart to get this done. So as I'm building the framework in today's conversation, as I'm building the framework, it's going to be important to remember to submit the EKG. And your EKG, in order for this application for you to fight to be approved, the EKG has to come back positive. In other words, my heart is in the correct position and in the correct condition. Doc Cass is in the building. What's happening? My heart posture absolutely matters. Position, it's in the right place. I believe. I know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And condition, to be able to weather the beating that's going to happen. To be able to weather, oh, I made a mistake on the job. Now, boom. Okay, you know what? I'm still minded. I yelled at my husband, or I yelled at my wife, or I had an angry outburst. Bang! Oh, that hit me. But you know what? I'm gonna fight. I mishandled my children. Bang! Bloody nose. But you know what? I am a fighter. I expected these punches. But if this EKG comes back negative and your heart is not in the right position or condition, you're not going to be built to fight. So today I need you to examine your heart posture, position, and condition. Let me move. The next thing that is presented is a vision test. Right. Remember how I told you about Vinny Paz and how his peripherals were taken from him due to the halo. Right. You have to, an eye exam is necessary because you have to examine your vision, because without proper vision, the people perish. In other words, not seeing things correctly can cause you your life. It can cause you wasted years. It can cause you trying to do things over and over and over and over and over again your way. It can cause you to waste energy. It can cause you to not take the most effective route to get things done because my vision was wrong. I could be seeing the correct thing, but if I'm seeing it from the wrong spirit or the wrong heart or with the wrong intentions, then that's just as good as seeing it wrong because I'm going to take the wrong angle of approach. And now I have to delay where it is that I'm supposed to go. Lack of vision will cost you your life. Lack of vision will definitely cost you purpose. Lack of vision will cost you prosperity. Lack of vision will cost you time. It'll cost you tears. It'll cost you blood. It'll cost you sweat. It'll cost you your mental health. It'll cost you your emotional health. So we have to submit a vision test in order to ensure that we're seeing things the correct way. Let me move. The next thing is a physical examination. And here's what the outside looks like. We have to submit thank you for the follow. We have to submit a physical test because this physical exam is going to examine our capacity, our endurance, and our resilience. In other words, what does it look like when you're under tension? What does it look like when you're stressed? What does it look like when things aren't going your way? Are we going to start to pack luggage for a guilt trip and blow up balloons for a pity party? Are we going to lash out at everything close to us? Or do we have good emotional regulation? What does it look like when you're under stress and you're behind on the cards in a fight and you need a knockout to win? Can you muster the endurance? Can you muster the strength? Can you muster the control to be able to direct just one shot? Some people, they marvel at how when we're looking at fights, right? They'll see someone getting beaten the entire fight long, and then all of a sudden they'll be like, "Oh, he got a lucky punch." But I ask you to ask yourself, when you deliver the knockout blow to your problems, was it a lucky punch, or was it a strategically placed punch? But in order to strategically place one, I must have endurance and I must have resilience, because if I allow the beating that I've been taking mentally, the beating that I've been taking emotionally, the beating that I've been taking financially, if I allow this thing to deter my will to fight, then I'm not even going to throw the punch. It doesn't matter if it's lucky or strategic. But the truth of the matter is all things work together. So listen, all things work together for me because I ensured that my heart posture was correct. I have decided to fight back. I have decided that I have worked on my endurance tools. I have learned the lessons. In other words, I've learned the rhythm of my opponent. I've learned the timing of my opponent. I've learned the habits of my opponent. And as a result of that, I'm taking this knowledge and I'm putting it in my backpack because I just need one strategic punch and I can rid myself of this problem forever. But I have to have the license to fight back. I have to have the heart to fight back. I have to have the conditioning to fight back. And before I start training, I have to ensure that I'm in the right place. In other words, I have to be open to criticism. I have to be willing to make myself uncomfortable to condition myself for where it is that I'm trying to go. I have to be able to deal with a 6-month training camp in which my diet has become strict. In which my workout regimen has become strict, in which my boundaries are strengthening themselves, in which I'm not answering the "what are you doing" text, in which I'm leaving the DM on red, in which I am done Netflix and chilling, in which I can tell my mom that she never believed in me and we can have that conversation to heal, in which I can go and ask my father why he never showed up to my football games, in which I can confront that cousin that touched, We have to ensure that we are in a proper position to fight. And this is just the application phase, and I'm only laying the framework right now. This series, listen, if y'all are not here every Saturday, y'all are gonna miss something. This is just the frame. This is just the license. This is just the application process. This is not. Listen, it's my prayer that this series breaks something loose for somebody. Okay. The next thing, I have to submit proof of a blood test. Okay. I have to submit proof of a blood test. And this blood test is to ensure that there are no STIs or PEDs in my bloodstream. Put this in a point. My destiny is directly tied to my DNA. What does it look like? For those of y'all who don't know, PEDs stands for performance enhancing drugs. Performance enhancing drugs. Now, what that means is for you mentally and emotionally, what that looks like is false confidence. It looks like the mask that we come on social media and smile to try and make everybody believe that we're okay. It looks like when someone asks you how you're doing and they're genuinely asking, you tell them that you're fine because you don't want to be a burden, or you're fine because you don't want to dump your problems on them, or you're fine because you don't fully trust that they can do something for you. I am putting performance enhancing drugs, attempting to gain a false advantage. I have to ensure that there are no performance enhancing drugs in my bloodstream. And the physician has to ensure, right, that there's a fair opportunity. How is it that you want a fair opportunity to succeed? but you won't be humble, open, and transparent? How is it that you want to get in here and you want to fight, but you want a cheat code? How is it that you get in here and you want to fight, but you're doping yourself up? But what you don't realize is that the minute that you have to cycle off the performance enhancing drugs, in other words, the minute that I can take the wig and the makeup off, I have to love myself then. I have to decide that I'm beautiful then. The minute that I'm tired of jumping on social media and smiling and having a couple drinks with the girls, and the minute that I'm done taking the selfie at Starbucks to show how bougie I am, the minute that I have to stop faking like my life is worth $5.3 million and I got $5 inside of the bank account, the minute that I have to stop, I have to love myself then. In other words, I have to ensure that my bloodstream is pure. The things that I was equipped with is pure. The things that I were made with and born with is pure. The minute that I have to stop and I have to take off the Beijing for the beard, the minute that I have to get on here without a haircut, the minute that I have to show up as myself, I have to love myself then. I have to believe in myself then. Because when you're getting ready to fight back with real life issues, with things that have been on you in your natural state, you have to fight back in the natural state. But this is how you take your power back. I can't get in here gassed up. It's an unfair advantage. I can't put things into me. Oh my God. I can't put things into me. Going to the clubs, getting saucy and twerking to escape reality. I can't go out with the boys to every happy hour and exchange Instagrams with every pretty woman that I see, because the truth of the matter is that because I was inadequate, I let the one that got away get away. Uh-oh. There's nothing that I can put in me that is going to enhance my performance to a point that I could have achieved without it. When we want to attract things, when we want to manifest things, when we pray and when we fast for things, we do it at our highest natural vibrational state. So I have to ensure that there are no PEDs in me. So that's why I have to submit this blood test with my license. Listen, we're just laying framework this week. The next thing that the blood test streams for is STIs, sexually transmitted infections. Now, let me put this in a point so I can make it mentally. Okay, you don't want the germs and the diseases within you to contaminate somebody else. One of the most toxic things that happens in life is when I'm not true to what my DNA says. Right. I got performance enhancing drugs. I have allowed my past to poison my bloodstream. And now, because when I'm in a fight, there's going to be exchange of saliva, an exchange of sweat, an exchange of blood. But if what's in me is not clean, in other words, if it's not pure, if I haven't healed or at least acknowledged the fact that I wanted to heal it, then what's in me is going to leak out to somebody else. And what happens is this person takes my toxicity, and then that person goes to another group of friends and take that toxicity, and then that person goes to that other person and they take that toxicity. So I have to ensure that what's in me is not going to contaminate somebody else. We have to be able to get to a point in our life where we desire to operate from a place of natural, healed preparation and DNA. Why? Because what I don't see me saying over here, or I don't recognize the impact of my DNA. In other words, I can do something over here that could kill somebody else 6 months from now. That's the reality. That's really how deep it is. I can speak a word today that can be the reason that somebody doesn't hug their child 3 months from now. So I have to ensure. Taz, what's happening? I have to ensure that what I'm putting out, the product that I'm putting out, even if it's broken, even if it's not perfect, even if people are not going to like it, Even if I don't even like the sight of my own blood, I have to ensure that it's natural and that it hasn't been puffed up so I can fake things to people. And I have to be hot, humble, open, and transparent. I have to get hot, right? So, but I also have to recognize that there are things within me that, if not treated, if not diagnosed, if not acknowledged, that I can allow to spew onto somebody else that could kill somebody else. It's that serious. Let me move. The next thing that I have to submit is, or apply for, is my fighter national identification card. My fighter national identification card, right? And what this does is it signifies to the rest of the world. It signifies to the rest of the world that I am a fighter. Why is this important? Well, because the reason that we get treated or mistreated, the reason that we get walked on, the reason that our boundaries are continually disrespected is because people don't recognize that we're a fighter. People don't recognize that I'm skilled with these. People don't recognize that I'm not for the shenanigans. I'm intolerant of the nonsense. People don't realize that if you talk to me wrong and I'm not prayed up that day, you might catch one. People don't recognize that I'll lay hands for my wife. People don't recognize I'll lay hands for my children. People don't recognize that if you catch me on the wrong day, at the wrong time, in the wrong spirit, with the wrong attitude, there could be physical repercussions. Right? And what this also does is it signifies to God, karma, and the universe that you haven't given up, that you've met the necessary training and requirements to be declared a fighter. You've met the necessary mental capacity to be declared a fighter. You've met the necessary training requirements to declare a fighter. Now watch this. You apply for the registration card prior to your first fight. Without the card, you're not allowed to fight. This is important. This is important that you apply for the card prior to your first fight. It's important that you have this card in your possession. Because God, karma, the universe, the great tree, the turtle, whatever your belief system is, it needs to ensure that you're committed. So I'm going to identify myself as a fighter prior to my first fight. I can transition to winner once I fight. But I have to make this decision and this determination that I'm going to fight today. And in order to protect you, God, karma, the universe, whatever your belief system is, in order to protect you, they have to ensure that you're sure that this is what you're going to do. They have to ensure that you're sure that this is what you're going to be. They have to ensure that you're sure that you want to fight. So I have to apply and submit this application well in advance. There's a tradition in which your trainers be the people to present you with your license, or you have it sent to the gym, and it's kind of ceremonial. It's kind of something to celebrate. It's kind of something that we're going to make a big deal out of. And it is true. For those of y'all that are listening, those of y'all that are watching that have been fighting or that have been struggling, and life has been punching you, and purpose has been punching you, and destiny has been punching you, and your mental health has tried to submit you, and your emotional health has been trying to submit you, I need you today to declare that you're going to fight. I need you to apply for your license to fight today, because no longer are we going to sit back and do the rope-a-dope move. Right? It was a brilliant thing when Muhammad Ali considered and he created the rope-a-dope, but look what happened to him. His brain was damaged because he took too many punches. That time is over for you. That time is over for you. So today, we're going to apply for our license to fight. We're going to apply for our license to hit back. I just told you the why. I just told you the why. And I just told you the how. This series is about to get insane. Next week, we're going to talk about training. Training to fight is going to be our topic next week. For those of y'all that are new to the platform, this isn't the only live that happens, right? So there'll be several conversations that happens in between here, right? But next week, next Saturday, right? The event will be up later today. Please make sure that you register and bring some friends with you next week. Next week, we're going to talk about training to fight, and we're going to break down the body and what does what and how does that contribute to your fight. We're going to talk about that next week, and we're gonna get it in. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? If not, and this is your first time on my platform, my name is Life Coach DeJuan J. I have been doing this for almost 9 years now. Please go to the page, engage in some of the content. There are 3 master classes available for you right now. There's a class on the law of attraction. There's a class on relationships, and there is a class on masculinity. They're all available for purchase right here on this app. Hit that link tree, man. Get involved in some of the merchandise and some of the swag, man. And don't forget, Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, there are the question of the day in which we have beautiful conversations in which we grow, right? Questions, comments, or concerns? We got a couple minutes. Yeah, it's done. We're done getting hit without swinging back. That is done. And we're going to ensure that this gets done. Let's go with the Jets. If this conversation helped you today, please let me see the Jets in the chat. Let me see the Jets in the chat if this conversation helped you today. And yeah, I will see y'all Monday, 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for the question of the day. I know that some of us are going to still be sleeping as a result of Super Bowl. Go Niners. And that is it. There are 9 billion people on the planet, but only one you. Nobody else. Nobody else is equipped with your mindset, your mentality, your perspective, your education. Oh, she knew it was coming. your perspective and your education and the way that you perceive things. That being said, that makes you rare. And because you're rare, you're valuable. And I love that for you. And I love you for that. So please, take care of yourself. Take care of one another. And do not forget that the logic's rated E for everybody. We are out of here.